Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Okay, before you settle in with your morning coffee or your afternoon snack, I need to give you a fair warning right now. Do not drink anything until this video is over. Because today we are talking about something that will make your throat tighten, your hands shake, and your eyes refuse to blink. We are talking about Park Jimin, BTS, Vogue Korea, and a set of behind-the-scenes photos that, oh my goodness, made netizens all over the world literally lose their minds. And I am not being dramatic. This genuinely happened. So, if you are ready, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's get into it. So here's what went down. On January 21st, 2026, Park Jimin, the BTS member we have known and loved for years, finally updated his social media for the very first time in 2026. And it was not just any update. Jimin dropped a series of behind-the-scenes photos from his Vogue Korea February 2026 photoshoot. These were not polished, officially retouched images. They were not the result of heavy post-production editing. These were spontaneous, unscripted moments captured between takes on set. And that is exactly where the problem lies. Because these so-called casual photos turned out to be more stunning than the fully edited final shots most other idols post online. In the photos, Jimin was caught simply sitting on a staircase, scrolling through his phone. There were atmospheric shots of the set, full of artistic props that built up the mood of the entire production. There were quiet, relaxed moments between sessions where Jimin looked completely natural and at ease. His blonde hair, paired with luxurious and mysterious Dior styling, created an aura that netizens immediately compared to the lead character of an incredibly expensive French art house film. One word from me: unreal. Now, before we dive into the netizen reactions, and spoiler alert, they were absolutely chaotic, we need to understand why this moment carries so much weight. First, this was Jimin's first social media post of 2026. After completing his mandatory military service on June 11th, 2025, alongside Jungkook, Jimin had already been active in the industry, attending the Dior show at Paris Fashion Week in September, becoming a brand ambassador for later in December. But for personal and intimate social media content like this was the first of the new year. So you can only imagine how ARMY responded the moment that notification appeared on their screens. Second, the context around the Vogue Korea February 2026 issue itself was already extraordinary. The magazine released the February edition with 7 different covers, all featuring Jimin, all dressed exclusively in Dior. 7 covers. For one person, that is not something that happens every day in the fashion industry, anywhere in the world. The 30-page editorial was titled The Sound of Now, shot by celebrated photographer Jungkook. Vogue Korea described it as a portrayal of lively delicacy, dreamlike and fairy tale-like, a warm beauty. And the issue immediately topped the real-time bestseller rankings on major Korean online bookstores the moment it dropped on January 9th, 2026. This was not just a magazine. This was a historical document for K-pop fashion. Third, and this is the most important point, Jimin is not just any cover model. As Dior's global brand ambassador since January 2023, he has proven that he is not simply an idol being borrowed by a fashion brand for the sake of visibility. He is a face chosen with extraordinary selectivity by one of the most prestigious fashion houses in the world. This collaboration has already entered its 3rd year, something that almost never happens in the world of K-pop and luxury fashion crossovers. So when these Vogue behind-the-scenes photos surfaced, it was not just a favorite idol update. It was a statement from an artist who is genuinely at the absolute peak of his craft. Now we get to the part everyone has been waiting for, the netizen reactions. And I will be completely honest with you. I have been covering K-pop news for a long time, but the response to these photos was on a different level entirely. This was not a simple, wow, he looks great, or a basic, handsome oppa situation. This was a moment where thousands of people collectively lost the ability to form coherent sentences. Let's go through it. On X, formerly Twitter, the hashtags #JMGNXVOGKOREA and #JMGNXDIWAR exploded instantly and held positions in the worldwide trending rankings for several consecutive days. Not just trending in Korea, worldwide. From the United States, Brazil, the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, all the way to Europe, everyone was talking about the same thing. Jimin's Vogue behind-the-scenes photos. What exactly were they saying? One of the most retweeted comments read something like, "It is genuinely hard to believe Jimin is human. He shifts between masculine and feminine so effortlessly." Someone else wrote, "Jimin has a severe case of doll face syndrome." And in fan culture, that is the highest possible compliment you can give. Fan accounts from dozens of countries united in one massive collective meltdown. Comments in Spanish, Portuguese, Indonesian, Arabic, Tagalog, all of them saying the same thing: limitless, breathless awe. Vogue Korea's official Instagram account was flooded with multilingual praise. There were comments saying, "One of the best faces I've ever seen in Vogue." Others wrote, "Without a doubt, the most beautiful man in the world." And some went even further, "I forgot how to breathe." What really sent everything over the edge was when Brazilian supermodel Gisele Oliveira, who had already been known as a Jimin admirer, shared his Vogue Korea images on her Instagram story with nothing but "oh my" and a drooling emoji. When a world-class supermodel is that visibly shaken by someone's photos, that is validation on an entirely different plane of existence. Across fan communities, the comments that circulated included things like, "He has zero flaws. Even in a candid photo, he looks like he was photoshopped." And, "This is not a regular human. This is a being from another dimension who happened to stop by Earth and decided to become an idol." And, "Every frame is a work of art. Every movement is magic." And, "Even the photo of him on the stairs holding his phone looks like $1 million fashion editorial." Fans gave him the highest honorary title in K-pop, Pictorial Master. Because even in unplanned, unposed, informal moments, the result still looks like the front page of a luxury magazine. Let me pause from the chaos of netizen reactions for a moment and talk more seriously about why these photos are genuinely exceptional from a pure aesthetic standpoint. Start with how Jimin looked during this session. He wore blonde hair, a choice that creates a dramatic visual contrast with his complexion. Combined with makeup that received its own wave of praise, a warm bronze blush across his cheekbones, delicately layered eyeshadow that adds depth, and a luminous highlighter that makes his face appear lit from within. One fan wrote, "He's serving the entire face economy." The phrase means his facial look alone functions as a masterclass in the art of makeup and fashion. But what truly floored people was not just the makeup or the hair. It was the way he occupies space. In behind-the-scenes photos, Jimin was not performing. He was simply being, sitting on a staircase, looking at his phone, waiting for the next shot. And in what should have been an ordinary, throwaway moment, he still created a visual composition that was stunning. The slight curve of his back, the light catching him from just the right angle, the expression on his face, distant and full of thought, all of it meeting at a single point and producing something that cannot be manufactured or staged. That is what separates a true artist from a pretty face. Vogue Korea called him the embodiment of lively delicacy. And after seeing those photos, it is hard to argue with that description. There is an energy that flows through every image, but it is not a forceful or theatrical energy. It is quiet, natural, and it is precisely because of that quietness that it hits so hard. Photographer Jungkook clearly understood that the subject in front of his lens did not need much direction. Jimin was already the image himself. Let's step out of the world of poetry for a moment and look at some hard facts, because the scale of this reaction is not accidental. It is the reflection of real, measurable achievement. On brand reputation, Jimin topped the January 2026 boy group member brand reputation rankings with a brand reputation index of 4,142,149. What makes that even more staggering is that this marks 35 consecutive months and 56 total months at the #1 spot. No other idol has ever done this. On his music, his solo single, Who recently re-entered the Billboard Global US chart at number 152, marking its 75th week on the chart, setting a new record for the longest-running single by a K-pop solo artist on that chart. His EP Muse has also remained on the Billboard World Albums chart for 76 consecutive weeks, making it the longest charting release by an Asian solo artist in that category. On the Vogue Korea issue, all 7 February 2026 covers featuring Jimin dominated the real-time bestseller rankings on major Korean online platforms like Yes24 from the moment of release. Not just trending, dominating. On BTS as a whole, on January 13th, 2026, BTS announced the Arirang World Tour, 79 shows across 34 cities. Their fifth full-length album, Ararang, is set to release on March 20th, 2026. And concert tickets? They will be gone in minutes the moment they go on sale. This is one of the biggest comebacks in K-pop history. And these Vogue photos are one of the opening chapters of that extraordinary new era. If you want to fully appreciate why this moment feels so special, we need to step back and look at Jimin's journey over the past year. June 2025, Jimin completed his mandatory military service alongside Jungkook. After more than a year away from the spotlight, he returned. This was not simply the return of an idol. This was the return of one of the most influential artists in global entertainment. September 2025, his first public appearance after the military. Jimin attended the Dior Spring-Summer 2026 show at Paris Fashion Week. And he did not arrive as an ordinary guest. He arrived as a globally recognized brand ambassador, in a look that immediately went viral. A black coat worn without a shirt underneath, paired with black skinny leather pants. Photos from that day circulated across social media within hours. December 2025, Jimin was announced as the brand ambassador for Later, a premium Korean hair care company. This expanded his reach from luxury fashion into beauty, two very different industries, both of which he entered without resistance. January 2026, Vogue Korea released the February issue with Jimin as the star. And then, on January 21st, Jimin himself shared the behind-the-scenes moments that made the world stop breathing for a beat. This is not just a string of promotional schedules. This is the narrative of an artist who went away on a long journey and came back stronger, more mature, and more luminous than before. Netizens saw it. ARMY felt it. The entire industry is taking notes. There is one more thing worth talking about, and this goes beyond appearances and achievements. Alongside the behind-the-scenes video released by Vogue Korea on January 19, 2026, Jimin included a personal message delivered in his own voice. And the message was genuinely beautiful. He said, in his own words, "My dear, February lies quiet upon the days, and I find my thoughts returning to you. What I feel is not loud, it is steady. Love to me is simply this, to hold you in the heart with constancy, in presence and in absence alike. Much love." Now imagine you are a fan hearing those words, delivered in Jimin's soft voice, set against the visuals of those gorgeous photos. It is no wonder the comment sections were filled with heart emojis, tears, and expressions of disbelief that any one person could be this beautiful, both visually and in the way they express feeling. This is what has always set Jimin apart. He is not only about visuals. He is an artist who understands emotional depth and knows how to deliver it to his audience in a way that goes directly to the heart. You might be thinking, okay, this is still just an idol posting photos. How big can the actual impact really be? Let me tell you. When Jimin uploaded those photos, within less than 1 hour, Jimin was trending in dozens of countries simultaneously. X recorded one of the highest single content engagement spikes for K-pop content that entire week. Vogue Korea's Instagram received hundreds of thousands of new comments in a single day. But the impact did not stop at social media. In the fashion industry, these photos once again confirmed Jimin's position as the most bankable face for luxury brands in Asia. His collaboration with Dior has now entered its third year, and every time he appears in any campaign, the brand's engagement numbers spike sharply. In the K-pop music industry, this moment reinforces that the BTS post-military era is not simply a return. It is a reinvention. Jimin did not come back as the old version of himself. He came back as someone who has genuinely lived through a process of growth, and you can feel that in every gesture, every expression, every artistic choice he makes. Across the global ARMY community, the reaction was palpable. Fan threads ran for thousands of comments. Reaction videos appeared within hours. Fan art poured in from every corner of the world. The wave that these photos created rippled outward in every direction, touching every corner of the globe. One set of photos, one person, and the effect was like a stone dropped into still water, the ripples spreading endlessly outward. If these Vogue photos are the opening act, then imagine what is coming next. March 20th, 2026, BTS releases their fifth full-length album, Ararang. This is the first BTS album after every single member has completed military service. This is not merely a music release. This is one of the most anticipated moments in the history of modern K-pop. April 9th, 2026, the Arirang World Tour begins at Goyang Stadium in South Korea. 79 shows, 34 cities, millions of fans around the world who have been waiting for more than 2 years. And Jimin will be standing on that stage, alongside all 6 of his members, bringing everything he has. All the beauty, all the depth, all the energy he has been quietly building throughout this year. For an artist whose candid photo of checking his phone on a staircase can move the entire world, imagine what he will create when he stands under the spotlights of the biggest stage of his career. There are genuinely no words big enough to describe the anticipation that the global K-pop community is feeling right now. But one thing is absolutely certain. Jimin and BTS are back. And they are back bigger than ever. So that is the full story behind the photos that made the world collectively lose its mind. Jimin posted behind-the-scenes shots from his Vogue Korea shoot. Images that should have been casual turned out to reveal something irreplaceable. An artist who, even in his most spontaneous and unplanned moments, radiates a kind of beauty that cannot be faked or engineered. Netizen said it best, he has 0 flaws. And maybe that is the whole point. Not 0 blemishes, not the perfect pose, but someone who loves his art so completely and so genuinely that the art flows out of him naturally, even without him trying. Park Jimin is the sound of now, not just because Vogue Korea named him that, but because he truly is the sound of this moment in K-pop, in global fashion, and in the way the world experiences beauty. And all of us are lucky to be watching. So what do you think, everyone? Were you already following this story from day one? Or did you just find out right now from this video? Tell me in the comments below. And if you are excited for the BTS comeback with the Arirang album next month, let me know that too. I want to hear from you. Don't forget to hit like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with every army you know. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and please, try not to faint looking at Jimin's photos out there. Bye, Purple Heart.